Good morning to you. Mark Sutton, HurricaneTrack.com here with your hurricane outlook and discussion, talking about obviously Marco and Laura. We won't be talking about Marco for too much longer, thank goodness, but our saga with Laura, I think, is just beginning as we have a very big week ahead of us and a lot to keep up with. So this being Monday, it's a little bit of a longer update. We go over some other things outside of just the current events, and there's a lot to talk about. So this is going to be one of those rather lengthy ones, so get comfortable. I'm here to educate you and show you what I know, and hopefully you'll learn something from this. So let's start off with the satellite imagery, the loop here of the entire Atlantic Basin, most of it anyway, and we see a couple of interesting things. Here's Marco, and we can see the shear that is going over the top of it and tearing it apart. And that is good news. It's still bringing some impacts to the Florida Panhandle, not so much over in Mississippi and Louisiana, which is a good thing. I kind of dodged a bullet with this one, so thumbs up to that. And then, of course, down here we have Laura trying to get its act together. Very, very strange system overall, defying a lot of what we thought was going to happen. It looked like it was going to track right over all of these islands, and it went to the south for the most part. And this is going to be a very, very big news maker in the coming days as it heads into the Gulf of Mexico and in the general vicinity here of the Northwest Gulf for an eventual landfall. And this has all the makings of a historic hurricane. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This one looks like it could be very dangerous. And then out in the open Atlantic, we need to watch. It doesn't look like much now, but when they don't develop out in this area, you have to watch for when they do develop over here, and that's going to be several days away. We're seeing some signals in the ensembles. And real quick, when we talk about ensembles, you're going to hear that word more and more. I'm going to show you some ensemble guidance in this update. So the operational models, the deterministic models, think of those as the conductor of an orchestra, or the lead singer of a band, whatever, like the head person, so to speak. And so by themselves, they may be pretty good, and they may be even great. But with the orchestra behind them, you think of great composers, Beethoven, classical, Mozart, classical, Hans Zimmer, John Williams, and the more contemporary film score. I love film scores. They are great composers. John Williams can play the piano, Hans Zimmer can play the piano, a bunch of other instruments too, but you put the orchestra behind them, and now they are legendary, right? And that's what this is all about. The deterministic models are great, good to great. Sometimes they're bad, but when you have the ensemble, which is the same model, GFS, Euro, Canadian, and others, the UK Met, those are the four biggest ones that we follow, or at least I do. The ensembles are the same models run with different variables input to give you slightly different, in some cases drastically different outputs. It allows for variability. What could happen if this happens? That's what ensemble guidance is generally all about. And so the ensembles are showing where the deterministic models aren't showing. Let me restart that. Just because the deterministic models are not showing development in this area doesn't mean that there won't be development in this area, because the majority of the ensembles are showing that, meaning eventually the deterministic models are going to catch up to some of those what-if solutions. And we're going to have more activity coming even after Marco and Laura. So just be in the mindset of that. We're in this. We're not getting out of it. So now let's dig in and be cool about it. You know what I mean? Let's get through this, all right? Let's use our common sense. No reason to be afraid. And I know that's easy to say if there's a big hurricane coming and you live in an area where it could destroy your house. But being afraid means you don't understand. Fear of something, especially the unknown, can take control of you. And I want you to control your own destiny through education, awareness, and wrapping your brain around the impacts. That is my job. All right, so there you go. So let's move on. I understand that Zoom is having problems globally or whatever. Well, here's your online lesson for how to deal with hurricanes, all right, and high impact weather events. The more you know, the less fearful you have to be. Just don't let fear control you. That's my point there. So let's move along. What do we see here? This is a great education, speaking of education, in shear, upper level wind. I think let's use sky blue here. So there's the low level center of Marco. Very easy to see. This other stuff, this convection, is the mid and upper level guts of it, if you will. All been separated by strong shear that's going in this direction, while the low level center is trying to go in this direction. That doesn't work out too well. The system has been decoupled or separated from being aligned. If you take all this thunderstorm activity and you move it back over that center and you line everything up, Marco is a 100-mile-per-hour hurricane, if not stronger, heading towards Mississippi and Louisiana today. But that's not happening because strong upper-level winds are coming out from this direction roughly. And, I mean, you can see that. You know, the wind is all going this way, shearing across the system. I think you get that concept. So, a couple of things to note. First of all, the weather, most of it, the nastiest stuff, is over here, well away from the center of circulation. Impacts, people, impacts. When people say, where do you think it's going to go, or it's not going to be that big of a deal, I don't know exactly what's going on underneath these clouds and rain and storms and stuff, but you know, maybe there's a lot of heavy rain and people are driving in it and somebody has an accident. That's directly attributable to Marco being there. And you understand the impacts here. Yes, the center of circulation is exposed, but look, way over here, hundreds of miles away from the center of Marco, that's where a majority of the inclement weather is taking place. And we can see that very clearly on the radar here from Mark Nissenbaum over at FSU, Florida State University. Great radar loop. In fact, I really like it because we can go full size. In the words of Austin Powers, yeah, baby. I mean, these people, I tell you what, these people that are so friggin' talented with their coding skills, if I had this, man. But you know what? I do have it. It's right in front of my eyes from the very talented Mark Nissenbaum. All right, so to my point, here is all of the rough weather moving in across the offshore waters of the Florida Panhandle. Some rain up in the Panhandle. Not too heavy. It's not horrible. You need the rain, so that's good. Some fresh water, if it just won't be too bad. The mid-level center and whatnot, probably down here. And then the low-level circulation, you can't even really see it. It's kind of lost over here somewhere. So Marco is disheveled. For us over here, I say us because I'm over here in Gulfport. For those of you, those of us, whatever, along this part of the coastline, it's not going to be a big problem in terms of impacts. And no, Marco's not going to suddenly make a comeback. It's done. We got lucky. It's a good thing. Take it, okay? Instead of besmirching, well, I told you it was going to... Look, be glad. You know, 15 years ago, we were getting ready to start, 5 days from now, 15 years ago, it was awful, a nightmare. And you don't want that. These things are really exciting and interesting to track, but be very grateful when something like Marco falls apart. And I'm preaching to the choir here for a lot of you. You understand that. Yes, hurricanes can get very exciting to track, just their inherent nature. You know, there's nothing wrong with that at all. If a car drove through the window to my right in my hotel room and burst into the room, as long as I'm not injured, it's an exciting moment, right? By very definition. Wow, on Mark's video, a car drove right through the window. It's exciting by definition. But if I got hurt, it really isn't that exciting anymore, is it? That wouldn't be good, especially if I got killed. Then that excitement turns to tragedy. So hurricanes can be very exciting. We don't need to shy away from that. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you a demented person to be excited that a hurricane is brewing. It's naturally, it's a natural feeling. But understanding what it all means, that there could be some very bad impacts, we have to sympathize with what people are going through, the anxiety, that not everybody is excited about it. Some people detest it, and we need to respect that too. And I'm just bringing all this, as I told you, it's going to be a long update, because I want you to see how I look at things. And hopefully it spills over and lets you understand better about what we're looking at and how to deal with it that makes the most sense. All right? So Marco, all right, good. We got away with that one. That's good. So now let's move on to Laura. And I really like leaning on and pointing out people who I follow on social media. For all of social media's negatives, there are a lot of positives. And we see some people here like Eric Webb. I talk about Jack Sillen, Ben Knoll, and several others over especially these last few years. These youngsters, they are younger than me. They're coming up, and they are remarkable. So you're going to hear me talk about Eric and Jack and others a lot. So what is Eric talking about? Well, let's really start now to focus more and more on Laura. So Eric tweeted earlier that, as others have mentioned, it looks like Recon is finding another robust and closed low-level center about a degree due west, and he's talking longitude here, of Laura's previous low-level center fix. If this center becomes dominant, it would have major track and intensity implications going forward. And these are the things that matter. People like Eric that can pick this up. People like Levi Cowan that made this graphic available in the first place. You know, Levi of Tropical Tidbits. Come on. He's one of the greats. Legendary already. And he's just out of college with a PhD. Wow. What a world, right? So Eric points this out. This could be huge. Also from Eric, again, now we start looking at the guidance. So you notice, I'm not showing you a tracking map yet, like the current tracking map from the Hurricane Center. It's not like it doesn't matter, but I'm approaching this in a different way. What is the overall synoptic setup? What is the guidance generally showing us from the ensemble perspective? Instead of a deterministic run, a singular run of the GFS, the UK Met, the Euro or the Canadian or whatever, the HWRF, the HMON. There's just too many of them. And so let's look at it synoptically. What's the pattern suggest? So there's no reason to really focus on a track map just yet. I'm not dismissing it, but what is the pattern showing us? So here we get a glimpse of that, again from Eric Webb, that the 0Z EPS, that's in the ensemble prediction system, and this one's from the Euro here, 0Z is last night. It initialized at 0 Zulu time, or 8 p.m. Eastern time, also known as UTC. All right, that's what that means. It backs up the 0Z UK Met. That is another model, and it's pretty darn good, the UK Met. It doesn't get as much attention, perhaps, as it should. And what is this all saying? Well, that the mean, the average, is somewhere between Houston and Port O'Connor. And nearly every member is southwest, every member of these track guidance plots here, of the latest official NHC forecast track. Also keep in mind, even this forecast, initialized, he's talking about this right here, right there, initialized Laura a little too far north over southern Cuba. These are the little nuances that people pick out, and we can discuss reasonably on social media. This is not hype. This is science. This is Eric using his talent and his education to explain what we're looking at. So as we look at this map, and I'm going to enlarge it here and show you, and this map itself comes from weathermodels.com. Jack Sillen is involved with them. You hear me talk about Jack often. So what do we see? Well, the deeper reds in here, a majority of the stronger this is, basically the farther south and west it's going to go. Why is that the case? A lot of times we hear when they are strong, they go more north, and when they are weak, they go more west. That is true when there's a trough or a weakness involved. In this case, the larger Laura fills out into the atmosphere, the more it's going to be dominated by what? And you can see it right here. This is the beauty of all of this. The subtropical ridge. There's the outline of it right there for you. And I'm just approximating it. Okay, this is an oversimplification. It's moving around that big bubble of high pressure. The key is, now there's two of them here, how large and the orientation of that big circle, the ridge or the oval. How large is the ridge? How much does it expand or contract, and what's its shape? And how large and into the atmosphere does Laura reach? And so the larger Laura is, the more influenced it is by that deep level flow around the ridge, which means if Laura is strong and high into the atmosphere and really fills out, it goes on in more towards these southern solutions, and Texas is firmly in the crosshairs for the potential of a major hurricane landfall. And some of these ensemble members, just to note, actually take this into Mexico from the Euro here, the ensemble prediction system. Notice too that some of these members bring it around, and it's pretty sharp there, and maybe there's impacts later as its post-Laura life interacts with the mid-Atlantic states. We'll deal with this later. But yes, this has the potential to affect literally tens of millions of people and be a historic hurricane in the history books. Well, that's what historic would mean. So very, very eye-opening tweet from Eric. Jack Sillen, based on observational trends this morning, I think that the 6Z, that's the Euro started running off their synoptic runs, the major synoptic runs of 0 and 12. They started doing 6 and 18. And Jack is saying that based on observational trends this morning, I think that the 6Z ECMWF solution is not a bad representation of the most likely scenario for Laura. So here is a few hours later what we see from the Euro, the EPS, right there. See ECMWF, Ensemble Prediction System, the EPS. This, I believe, the black line is the ensemble mean. I need to message Jack. That could be the actual operational, but I'll find out. I want to make sure I'm accurate. But the bottom line, looking at the overall envelope, the 6Z ensemble package, all these red colors in here generally are stronger, and the stronger it is, the less likely it is to go into Louisiana, because it would feel that very large expanding subtropical ridge in Texas could be in some serious jeopardy here. All right? And he even goes on to note, and if you're not following weather.us, they had a blog about it, and that's mentioned over here. Check that out. Very good educational stuff. Also, just look at this. Water temperatures are plenty warm. Laura is currently situated, let me get my color right. Laura is currently situated over here off the chart. It's going to be moving over, and these are actual sea surface temperatures. These are not anomalies. This is not upper ocean heat content. This is in degrees Celsius. So Laura, generally speaking, will go across this area looking at the ensemble predictions, and the water temperatures, especially in the western Gulf, only get warmer. How warm? 30 plus Celsius, almost all the way to the coast. In many cases it is all the way to the coast, especially from about the coastal bend area up to Sabine Pass. Very, very warm all the way to the coast. Highly concerning. And I say that to motivate you to pay attention. We could be talking about a major hurricane with a big storm surge, big implications for life-changing effects. And so you need to start right now thinking about this if you are in southwest Louisiana and pretty much all of the Texas coast, but certainly central Texas up to the Texas-Louisiana border. I think that's the most likely area. It can change. It certainly can. Maybe it goes on into Mexico, which is a disaster for them. We don't want to wish it upon anybody, but it would certainly spare the U.S. from any problems. And my laptop's trying to die, so let me go plug it in. Oh my goodness, hang on. We're not going to let that happen. I was trying to sit in bed and do this comfortably, and my laptop's trying to die on me. Man, I got to get a new battery. All right, we're plugged in. We're good to go, and I can continue. That would have been horrible because this update I thought was going pretty well. I was comfortable over there in the bed, just kind of, chilling and talking to you like we're in a meeting together and just going over what's what. Whew, that was close. So water temperatures, definitely. And now I got the echo of the hard floor over here. The water temperatures are very supportive of a powerful hurricane. So I need you to be thinking about preparation. That doesn't mean panic and worry and get upset and start fighting with your family because everybody's stressed. Be cool. Take it one day at a time, one step at a time. You're Texans, you're Louisianans, you've been through this before. It's different now with the pandemic and all the political and social turmoil, but come on, reach in a little harder and a little deeper, and let's get through this, all right? We can do it. Common sense, patience, and put your plan into action. That's what I want you to do. All right? So water temperatures, not an inhibitor. We have to face that. All right. Now let's talk about the future just a little bit. Not to keep beating this horse, but my goodness, this pattern is really remarkable. And from a meteorological perspective, it's one of those things that's pretty rare to see. The developing La Nina in the Pacific, colder than normal sea surface temperatures, and an Atlantic basin profile that is in the top 5 for sure, maybe the top 3 of warmest anomalies, especially through the MDR, the main development region, the Caribbean, and the Gulf. And boy, even the northwest Atlantic, the subtropical Atlantic. These anomalies, departures from the average, are ridiculous. And it's only going to continue to make this hurricane season busy, probably well into November, to be honest with you. So we cannot ignore it. And I'm going to say it again, it's not hype, it's not fear-mongering, it is motivation. Motivating you to pay attention and to be ready, and we'll do everything we can to help you get through it, all right? Also, the Madden-Julian oscillation, this is just remarkable as well. The MJO index from the ECMWF, very favorable phases for the next several weeks, and then we get a little bit of a break, hopefully, and then it'll probably just come around again. That's just, we're only in latter August. We still have 7 days left in August, and the peak of the hurricane season is not even here yet. All right? So now, on to the pitch that I make to support my work. And if you've already heard this and you're already a supporter, I have no problem with you going ahead and stopping the video. If you don't want to hear this, stop the video now. That is fine. But what we are doing is absolutely incredible. 15 years ago, I started a subscription service to pay for the ability to stream live video from our vehicle and from unmanned camera systems in hurricanes. The money was coming in to simply pay for the project. I had a huge sponsorship and partnership with Lowe's and Sprint at the time, so that paid my bills, and I was able to make a good living. The economy crashed in 07, 08, 09, and those sponsorships went away. I stuck with it. People stuck with me, helped me out as best they could. We all got through all of that. I innovated, I persevered, and now we are in the age solidly of social media and crowdfunding. Pretty much everybody knows what those two things are. Certainly social media. The era of crowdfunding, people getting their money together to support a common cause, is remarkable. And that's what we're doing here. That's what Patreon is all about. supporting creators, YouTubers, poem writers, poets, lyricists, artists, animators, bloggers, podcasts, weather people. Levi is on there. The weathernerds.org is on there. And there are other people in the weather community. It allows us to do what we do best without having to worry about, can we even just pay our bills? Can we even pay for the server we're using? You know, think about Levi's servers. So that's what this is. It's a membership to the next level. That's the way I look at it. And what we're doing is beyond television. And that's not a knock on television. Hurricane coverage beyond television is what we're doing, but it's not just hurricanes either. Blizzards, nor'easters, lake effect snow, severe weather. We're going to be able to do stuff as this grows that's going to change internet weather as we know it. And I feel it coming, this watershed moment. So you are investors. You are part of something huge if you join this, and you get access. It's not a paywall. Pay me money, you get access. It is a cooperative. We work together. I'm going to show you that. So real quick, these are the membership levels from $1 to $25 and up. You can read them, check it out. Patreon.com/HurricaneTrack. The link is in the video of this YouTube update. And you can actually do a custom level if you want to. Patreon allows you to do that. You can do whatever level, fits you. And you can move laterally. $10 one month, $5 the next month. You got a bonus at work and you want to help out a little more, you can increase it to $50, or it doesn't matter. Patreon is amazing at allowing you to do that. What do you get? Well, our HurricaneTrack Insider, which is right here, is where you log in. And so if you become a member, you use your same email that you use to log into Patreon right there. Once you log in, it's just a username, no password, not for us. There is a password, of course, for Patreon. But for us, it's just your email. You enter it there, and you go here. Our Insider dashboard homepage. These are real people. Barbara, Nikki, Cullen, Mike. Mike's the guy that codes up all of our amazing stuff you see on YouTube here, this multi-panel stuff. Mike's the guy behind that, and he is one of our crowdfunders. He is. It's amazing. Janelle and others. I mean, these are just some of the people. We have 74 people right now logged in, and that's great. That is absolutely fantastic. You get this, the tracking map. This is what I call the ultimate tracking map, and it was coded by a gentleman in the UK named Will Woodgate, also one of our patrons, pro bono. He didn't charge me to do it, and I want to be able to hire him one day and bring him in as a full-time employee. Can you imagine? This is what he did in his spare time. We're going to grow this into something remarkable. And you go, well, that's a tracking map. So what? Oh, it's much more than that. Let's take the vehicle off of there and all of the tracking stuff just for a moment. And let's put on our cameras. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, the Nest camera in Rodanthe, North Carolina. There you go. Nobody else has this. This is funded and produced by our partners. That's what you guys are. You can zoom in. These are the cameras that I set up for Marco. I have wanted this for 15 years, and now I have it, and I'm going to get unleashed into the internet world, man. We are going to do stuff collectively that will absolutely change things forever. These are the cameras. Wait until we set up weather stations for Laura. Those get set up and they look like little temperature icons. I mean, I get so excited about this. Here's Gulfport, Mississippi. And not much is happening because Marco, cut us a break. Here is Grand Isle, Louisiana. We set this up last night. Mike and Brent and Greg, come on, people. This is freaking amazing. And it's crowdfunded. This is what you get if you become a member. It's not a paywall, man. It is an entry into a world of innovation and education that is science-based. And yes, it does have the tracking stuff. You can even track my vehicle, which is buried down here underneath these icons. There I am, right there. Unbelievable what Will has done. And of course, the hurricane plots are on there as well, and you can track all of that. I mean, these layers, and it's just going to get better and better from here. All right, so that's the track map. We also have the digital dashboard. If you don't want to see them on a map and you just want everything laid out in front of you, we got you covered. And this is just a small sample, and we have 15 of these camera systems. And we even figured out on this Marco that we can stream 2 cameras off of one hotspot. And I'm already talking to Verizon, who is, and I pay them. They are not a sponsor. I pay them a lot of money to be able to stream on their network. And that is the money that comes in from you guys. I've already talked to them. I literally spoke to them on the phone today to figure out a way to increase our allotment of data without it breaking the bank so that we can continue to do this kind of stuff and help emergency management. I spoke to a police officer from Mandeville today, Louisiana, that we want to be able to help communities. How are we going to do that? We can only do it through this, a cooperative effort to pool our resources. The money pays for it, the intellect, the innovation from you guys makes it grow from there. That is what our Patreon is all about. I don't think I could come up with a better pitch for it than that. Probably one of my best ever. All right, so I encourage you to get involved, stay involved, become a sustaining member, if you can, all year round. It's not just the hurricanes we're going to be able to get into more and more. Severe weather, winter storms, you name it. Expand our stuff globally. Oh my goodness. What we're going to be able to do is going to change things in a very profound way. And it's because of you guys. Even this graphic here from Kari, you know her on Twitter as Spooky. At least we do. She's one of our patrons as well. She makes these graphics, so I don't have to worry about that. And it allows me to focus. All right? So I'm done. I'm out. I told you this was going to be lengthy, but I think it was worth it. We covered some very good stuff today. Today is going to be kind of a day of rest for the team and I. And we're still working on stuff, but we don't have a lot to have to deal with, which is great, because Laura is going to change all of that, I do believe. So you do the same. Kind of chill. Get ready for Laura if you're in the Western Gulf there. Start some preparations and just remain calm and focused, okay? That's what I need you to do. And I'll do what I can from this end to educate you along the way. I almost forgot, and this makes me sad because I almost forgot. I want to show you this, by the way, from another one of I was ready to sign off too, my fault. This is some video from Guantanamo. We call our user here Island Kid, at least that's what he calls himself. He knows who he is. This was sent in to us from him, I think via his cousin or his uncle. Can't remember. I'm trying to keep a lot. This is what it looked like down in Guantanamo, Cuba. It's not like raging crazy, but again, being able to reach out and get stuff from people, it's that collective, collaborative effort. His connection, Island Boy, down there in Guantanamo, we appreciate that. You sending this to us. Thank your relative there for pitching in and taking that video. Imagine what we can do when we grow this. All right, so there you go. Now I'm going to sign off. I almost forgot, man. That makes me sad because I was wanting to show that. I got it in, though, at the last second. You guys have a great rest of your Monday. As always, thanks for tuning in. I will have an evening update, and we'll go over things again at that point. Won't be as lengthy, but we'll see what happens next, all right? Take it easy. I am Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something. We'll talk again later today.